being a wife to multiple husbands means that the roles will switch. And you will be that protector, provider, because you want someone to worship you or submit to you or whatever the case may be. Naturally, you'll have to take care of 4 husbands.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. I'm Coach Nazir.
And I'm his wife, Coach Fatimah.
And I'm Coach Nyla. I am also his wife.
We are the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, of course, your favorite relationship coaches, and authors of the book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. With that being said, there's a myth that we want to address today, and that's that women should also have multiple husbands or even desire multiple husbands. Now, my wives have already done a video about that, whether or not they even desire to have multiple husbands, or if any sane woman does. But today, I want to go in a little bit more detail and really have all of us talk on this, because we had a number of different comments, and of course, we read all the comments, all right? And we just want to kind of share this view that sticks out, or some excerpts, if you will. So I'm going to read them, and then we're going to talk about it. It's utter BS to share a husband when a woman cannot do the same sentiment. I think that the issue is that women can only have one husband, whereas a man can have 4 wives. Would you give her that same respect if she said she wanted another husband or to be with another man? I don't think so. That's just sexist, where the man's feelings are put way ahead of their wives, and I'm sorry. Da-da-da-da-da. That goes on and on. Let me see. Then there's the marrying 4 wives is in fact doing injustice, according to this person. It says that that's telling your wife she isn't good enough and that you need another one. What kind of justice is that? Now, here's her solution, or unknown, I'm assuming that's a female, says now if the woman could have another husband to go to when he's at the other wife's house, then that would be justice. Another is, let me see, understand lifestyle. If anything, the lifestyle should be diverse and well accepted on both spectrums, where a woman is allowed to have multiple husbands and all husbands subdue to her. I think she probably meant submit to her. But yeah, so those are just a few of them. That's more polyamory than anything. But nevertheless, let's talk about this multiple husbands things. Is it realistic? Is it the same? I say quite frequently that men are not simply women with penises, and women are not men with vaginas. All right? And I think that kind of gets the point across, and I'm pointing out that we are not biologically the same. So everything across the board, what's good for this is good for that, and da-da-da-da. So now, just to be clear, you could do whatever you want. We're simply pro-morals and pro-family here. So whether that's monogamy, polygyny, polyandry, whatever type of stuff, you actually have the power of choice, and with that comes rewards and consequences. But since this is just being thrown out there without much thought, we're going to talk about whether or not it even makes sense, or if women actually really do want multiple husbands, in this case, as what is being suggested.
Just taking care of the assumption first. Foremost, I wanted to talk about that because Coach Nyla and I did film a video about this, and we spoke about the assumption that is something that we desire, because people are putting it out there that we do, and he's just not listening. It's just like, no. Let me say it again. We do not desire to have multiple husbands. I didn't get married to have multiple husbands. I got married to have one husband. I'm Muslim. I'm a practicing Muslim. We all 3 are. And that is something, I've just never desired that, even when I wasn't Muslim. Because you think about the responsibilities and the role and what we have to do as women for our husbands, what our husbands have to do for us as women. So when I got married, that's what it was for me. I got married, one husband, and we didn't have this, you have 10 wives, I'll have 10 husbands, and this scorekeeping. We didn't have that. So I don't come from this place of, I'm going to get married so that I can marry multiple men and then be the man at the end of it. I'm going to run it like a stable of men, and I'm in charge. And I don't desire that at all. So I wanted to speak to the assumption that we do, and he's not listening or respecting the fact that we want multiple men, and you're just blocking it.
Yeah, I like that you stated that as well as, yeah, because it doesn't. No, we don't. But the other thing that you talked about, what you said, was that the roles. And when it comes to being a wife, it's one thing to say, and only just say what it is. Say what you really want. Say that you want multiple sex partners. Say what it really is. Because if it was the thing of thinking it's fair or wanting multiple husbands, you will think about the responsibilities that wives have. And you would think about the responsibilities that men have or husbands have, and they're totally different. They go together and can create a beautiful union, but they're different. Women are built naturally, created naturally to be nurturers, to be caretakers, to be caregivers, to be all those beautiful things that we were created to be. Not to be aggressive and assertive and these different things like that. Now we become that way and can learn those things, but usually that's more on a masculine scale because he's the protector, the provider. Those things are naturally for him. So being a wife to multiple husbands means that the roles will switch. And you will be that protector, provider, because you want someone to worship you or submit to you or whatever the case may be. Naturally, you'll have to take care of 4 husbands. If you have children by any of those 4 husbands, you will have to take care of the children as well as the husbands. Do you really, really want to do that?
I am Coach Nazir.
And I'm Coach Fatimah, his wife.
And I am Coach Nyla. I am also his wife.
We are the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as the authors of the book,
Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored.
And I'm sure you're asking yourself, how can you get your hands on a copy of it right now? The great part is, we're about to share that with you, but first, let me tell you about why you need to at least get your hands on 1 or maybe more copies, depending on where you are in your polygynous journey.
Some of the things that we discuss in our book are issues about trust, insecurities, jealousy among wives, and maybe possibly even creating lasting friendships.
Especially friendships amongst co-wives. And we share in this book how you can understand that it takes a village, that polygyny is not some taboo topic or something that's going to leave women stranded alone and kids not loving each other or feel like they're left alone by their fathers or from their fathers or whatever the case may be. You will learn so much in this book. Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored.
Indeed, we lay down the practical steps that we wish we would have had when we started our polygynous journey over 13 years ago. Well, the time is here, and all you have to do, go to letstalkpolygamy.com. Order a copy, order the bundle, do whatever it is you need to do so there's no more excuses, and we making marriage great again by reminding people of polygamy, which is an ancient solution to a modern day problem. Letstalkpolygamy.com. Get your pre-sale order on. With that being said,
make sure you are growing intentionally,
loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a higher level
every single day.
Visit the link. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace. Do you think that that's something one woman can actually do? Hey, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's those different things where thinking about the nurturing, the caring, the biological makeup. We carry children for 9 months, go into labor, and then it's this time period where we have to heal. But even during that healing process, we are still caring for another human being. Add 4 more human beings to that who are men, that still requires that loving, caring, nurturing spirit that wives give.
All right, so let's get into it. this is really not a well thought out process. I'm glad they brought up, you know what, you really don't want 4 husbands. What you want is just multiple sexual partners. Because you look at polygyny as really only being a sexual thing that benefits the man, as though, oh, it's just sex. There's just lustful, lower desires and all that kind of stuff. You're not thinking about the family or the children that you see we have and what we're building and teaching. So let's go into that. As women and men, we're biologically different. Now, yeah, it's easier said than done, or understood, I should say, for some who come with a knee-jerk reaction about multiple husbands. Because I'm a man, first of all. Now, maybe you don't want a masculine man. You want a weak, punk, sissified, simp type man, because I don't understand how a man will share a woman and then wonder whose baby this is, okay? And wants to carry on a legacy or build and protect, but doesn't know who is his. All right, you see the drama that comes out for shows like Maury and everything else, right? You maybe watch football, see how violent it can be, or maybe UFC, all right, because just the fact of having the XY chromosome makes us multiple times more susceptible to committing acts of violence, just because that's the way it is. If you have sons, you notice they're likely more aggressive than girls. Of course, there are anomalies, but what I mean is we're built differently. So if the women are built for nurturing and nourishing and taking care of, all right, and then of course you have those who talk about don't cook, don't clean, and so on, right? But then men are supposed to be protecting and providing. We are here for conquest, for expansion, for building, right? So there's going to be a clash, is my point, when you talk about a manly man or a man who's in his masculinity, okay? Very important to understand. Men are not like the women. You know, women might bicker all day, or they may, you know, to an extreme case, go to violence as one of their resorts. But that's still known as a masculine quality. Think of any military in the world. Think of any gang in the world. Yeah, there may be women that are parts of it, but they don't lead it. They don't go into it. They're not built for it, generally speaking, right? So 1, we're different there. 2, biologically speaking, we're different sexually. Clearly, she mentioned they're receivers. We're givers as men. Okay, how many pregnancies can a woman have per year? All right, if they're holding a baby for 40 weeks, that's 1 pregnancy, even if you have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or up to 8 children at one time. Now, as a man, how many pregnancies can I start, if you will, in a year? Let's say if you're doing 2 a day, that's 700 pregnancies. You know, just biologically speaking, just 2 a day. Which
3-3-year-olds.
Yeah, and that's just 3. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what happened with the rest? But I'm just saying we are built totally different. All right, emotionally, we have different requirements and different needs and all of these things. So, you know, there's another myth, you know, that goes on that, oh, well, men, you know, one of the questions that get asked when men cheat or infidelity, right? And it's known, and people think, oh, men cheat. They had this whole fantasy thing about monogamy, and, oh, no, monogamy means this, but we know the reality. When we think of people with relationship problems and challenges, they're likely not. The biggest challenge in your society on your block right now is polygyny or polygamy. That's not the issue. It's monogamous relationships that many things are going on. But again, we're pro-morals. Nevertheless, with that being said, knowing who your children are, all right, because they have to inherit from you. There are blessings, of course, knowing who their parents are and having that healthy pride and respect and so on that comes from that position. Then, of course, again, if you want somebody to, a man to go ahead and be under your authority, what type of man is that to begin with? So many aren't, oh, we just have 4 husbands. Cool. How about you do this test? You have and say, you know, you agree, you want to have an open, honest conversation with each other. Say, listen, you know what? I want to, you know, explore, you know, what it may be to have another wife. You can have that conversation, brings it to you.